Good morning, John. This is your last video of the day, and it's entitled "I Hear You Calling Me."
That's right. Thanks, Brian. Yes, I hear you calling me. It's a famous songs sung by people that I listen to at times on the internet. Mostly, I can get them. Father Sidney McCune, a tenor, that was very popular in my day. He was very popular, a great tenor. And one of the ones that he sang, and what used to be played years ago on Radio Ireland or RTE, whatever they call themselves now, it used to be played in May. It was the Flowers of May. He used to sing that, Father Sidney McCune, and it was always played. Now, he also sung that famous song, "I Hear You Calling Me." Now, it can be interpreted in various ways. John McCormack made it famous, and now there's a version of his singing that has a modern feel to it. They're able to sort of do it in some ways. I hear you calling me. I find that listening to music of that calibre does wonderful for the spirit and soul. It sort of reassures you that perhaps you're on the right track, because funny enough, when you're retired, you have a better chance of availing of this. When you're working, perhaps in a job or that, that would be, that you would have to probably try to do what appears to be the culture. And oftentimes it wouldn't be of a spiritual nature. They would anything goes and that type of thing, and you might have a different view of things. So you have difficulties when you're working in places. And but I was fortunate working in offices for a while, and then working in London in independent television for a couple of years, and got to know a fair bit about it in the 60s. And then working as a booking clerk on the London Underground, and that's where I realised I could deal with people very well. All variety of people that was coming through, and sometimes Irish people, and it was in a very well-to-do station. They might say, one for Killarney, just by way of a joke, and they would be working in the city. They were very well togged out in that. And so they'd get to know you. And funny enough, when I used to go to Mass in the particular area that I was living in, which is a good area, sometimes these ones that might have been on the thing, the next thing is to give me the thing to go and get some donations from the congregation. So isn't it funny how even in a nondescript type of a job like that, you'd think nobody, but you did notice, because I was good at it, and I could, they'd be putting whatever they were doing and they'd have their change before they could say blow their nose. I was as quick as anything. And so it gave me a great idea that I could deal with people, and that really put me on the road in the sales and sales management field, in the beer trade, in the grocery trade, and in the insurance trade. So I would have had a wide bit of a variety, not just one job kind of going from the bottom up. And it's a great experience. And so in this country, I certainly got to know every town and village. I know it inside out. And I would have customers up and down the country. Likewise, when I'm talking about this here, you call me. And also in other countries on the export market: Britain, France, Germany, Italy, them three. And got customers in the food company I was with. And they're gone, of course, too, and employed nearly 1,000. It's gone. The EU and the petrol strikes and the bank strikes and all the rest of it. There's so many things that happened when I was in working that is just I don't know how companies survived. And then of course we had the problem in the 6 counties with the troubles, as they call it. So now I find when I'm retired, I'm able to do a lot of things that I couldn't do when I was working as much. And I find this, I hear you calling me, it's a marvellous, they're marvellous songs of that calibre. And funny enough, you often wonder, is it you're calling me that you're heading for your maker? And you do, because from the time you're born, that's ahead of you. And it often depends on what good that you do in your life, or what good that you can do here and there, and those that you can help. Because you often meet enemies, especially in work where you're quite capable of, but there's another one that wants to do you down, a so-called friend, and he can kind of run you down from some place that you're after being and make something different out of it. So you have to contend with that. There does be that in jobs, believe it or not. And so work can be a difficulty. And same in any jurisdiction, not just here in this country, abroad. But thank God I survived there and did well. But when companies close, then you have to start somewhere else from the bottom up. Jobs was not ticking the ground, and there was such an amount of strikes in this country. There was ESB strikes in the winter. You'd be in a bedsitter or a bloody, that's all it would be. You wouldn't swing a fucking cat in it. And here you were, and a frizz. And you were just maybe had a kettle on the boil or whatever it is, because you wouldn't have the great comfort that we have nowadays. And the next thing is, the blinking thing is gone. So we had terrible trouble about this business of now, what I can do, and the comfort that is available. And thank God it's marvellous. And I listen to that type of music, especially at night time, because I'm not a TV addict whatsoever. And lifts the spirit, puts you in good humour. It puts me in good humour. And these are the type of things that when you're retired, that you can indulge in and do the things that you couldn't do when you were working. And travel. Now I travelled, of course, when I was working and when I was retired. With the COVID you couldn't travel, but certainly I'll be doing more of it now, please God. So this business of I hear you calling me, I hear visiting places of spiritual significance abroad, in the like of Poland, where there was such marvellous things happened. They suffered a lot of persecution, like us, communism and Nazism, murdered. And these other countries on the continent that I've been in, France and Italy, and not so much Germany, I wasn't that keen on that country. France, Italy, maybe Portugal. I was in Spain and I know it. So I hear all this calling me, and thank God. And I'll be going abroad now for 15 days later on the year, because the weather is not too hot. Mosquitoes, I don't know, they don't seem to bother some people, but they bother John Malone. So that's the business about to hear you calling me. There's a variety of things in it. It's the music that I mentioned, and then it's the places that are calling me as well. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much, John.